welcome to Codes of Harmony. Let me just see that I've got the angle correct. Well, nothing's perfect. Okay, so we have some channeled messages coming through for the collective, for the entire collective, if that's not clear. And I think I've been discussing that Spirit is bringing forward messages in the form of stories, like folklore stories, timeless. Yeah, so please only take what resonates. Remember that not all messages will fit your situation. These are collective messages for the healing, harmonizing, just moving all that energy. Okay, let's just move all that energy out of the way. And yeah, before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge your ancestors, known and unknown. I'd like to acknowledge my ancestors, known and unknown, and the ancestors of the ground on which I stand. The message today, and thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you are. I just heard everything's a lesson, everything's a blessing. And that's a channeled message that I channeled maybe 2 years ago that seems to be coming back around again. The message today is about, what I specifically heard is the slave drivers who fell in love with a freedom fighter. So this could be you could be this freedom fighter energy, or you could be part of the cohort I just heard of slave drivers. Okay, ooh, 20%. Let's keep it short and sweet. This is definitely a bit of a lucid, abstract storyline that's coming through. But I'm also hearing that it is a, please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. Oh yeah, this is Codes of Harmony. So if this content is at all beneficial to you in your life, then please make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share if you feel drawn to, as that is the least that you can do in terms of this energy exchange here at Codes of Harmony. Yeah, this is about the slave drivers who fell in love with a freedom fighter. And it's very much the energy. So for some of you, this is one person, and then for others of you, this is more than one person. And this is a energy, like a group, a corporation, I keep hearing cohort, which I'm not 100% sure the meaning of that word. So when it's coming through as one being, as one energy, it is definitely, there is basically, like, I almost titled this the slave driver's servant who fell in love with a freedom fighter. So for some of you, this is about somebody who is coming from a very different energetic place than you, who has very different ethics, very different morals, and basically is succumbing to the demands of the slave drivers. I've also been picking up recently about what feels like it's going to be a much larger channeled message. And the larger channeled message has to do with a secret organization that has been operating since the 1950s. And when I hear that, when I see that, I hear Rat Pack in my mind's eye, which makes me think of like old cinema, old Hollywood, I guess you could call it. And yeah, something about this worldwide organization. And I know that that's definitely something I need to flesh out a little bit more, and something that I'm going to be channeling on, meditating on, and bringing as many messages together, and then having a look at how I can package that in the most easy to understand way possible, and also a way that is um, as responsible as possible at this time. Please give me clear divine guidance, be most beneficial for everyone involved. I'm seeing nails, like old school nails, um, and a hammer. It's very much got that energy of like I've been doing a lot of channeling last year. Last year, I think a lot of messages about Romeo and Juliet came in, and of course, Romeo and Juliet, clearing the throat chakra. Romeo and Juliet were from opposite sides, and there's been stories throughout time, throughout history. Please give me clear and divine guidance, be most beneficial for everyone involved. I'm going to just activate my hands and use my hands, which is part of the way that I channel and do energy work. You may see, sense, or feel me moving, shifting, and transmuting energy for you, for the collective, for myself, and on behalf of your oversoul. Okay, and I just heard living over soul, living over soul. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial for everyone involved. It is a beautiful day here today. The sun is shining, but it's not too hot. I just saw Goldilocks in my mind's eye, which of course, when I think about Goldilocks, I think about like the first very clear example of white privilege. Not to trigger anybody, of course. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial. I just heard assumptions make an ass of you, not I, dear one. And yeah, it's like Romeo and Juliet came from different houses. You might have some kind of connection to an organization, an energy, a house, this could even be a fashion house for some of you, a job, it keeps coming through as like some kind of, I just saw Borgs. If you know anything about Star Trek, you will know what a Borg is. Um, and Borgs were like a negative version of the collective. And then I just saw Neo and Trinity in my mind's eye from, of course, the Matrix movies. Please give me clear and divine guidance to be most beneficial and involved. So it's about love that crosses borders, love that crosses over different fractions. About what happens when a spy, for example, falls in love with their target. What happens when somebody who was sent into your life to stop your work, to go against your calling, go against your mission? What happens when that being, whether it's a place, a person, or a thing, starts growing fond of you, or heaven forbid, falls in love with you? And I'm hearing this has been represented and reflected many times throughout history in mixed race. I've never loved that term, to be honest. Mixed race relationships. So you might have feelings for or connections to somebody who comes from a different religion to you. I just heard different church than you. Somebody who comes from a different background, a different socioeconomic background or experience, and something about love breaking chains, breaking boundaries of oppression. Okay, so we're not talking about personal boundaries, because as everyone knows, I am a humanitarian, and I deeply, deeply believe in people being sovereign and people understanding and knowing that they are sovereign, right? Sovereign souls, yeah. Which is a term and a concept that's been around for hundreds of years. It's when humanity started realizing that they had a a moral compass within themselves that they could choose to follow or not choose to follow. Oh, look at the light just bouncing off of me. Don't it always seem to go? You don't know what you've got till it's gone. Yeah, so I bring this message forward gently because I know that there are definitely situations where people's lives, people's jobs, people's way of being can actually be threatened um, by outside forces that want to judge, control, or oppress love. Yeah, particularly love that breaks boundaries of oppression. You know, that breaks norms, whether they be gender norms, whether they be social norms, whether they be economic norms, whether they, I heard love that can make or break wars. Okay, so a lot of you, oh, did you get it? Did you get it? I just heard Star of David. The North Star is also important, following your true North Star. And there's a lot of sense of timeline splitting and shifting between the collective. That's unusual. I wouldn't normally put it that way. But we can talk about there being, I've heard people speak of there being a divine matrix, and then, of course, the dark matrix that we want to break out of. Yeah. It's like it's giving Harriet Tubman, yeah? So if you don't know who that is, I highly encourage you to look into her life story. And there's definitely something about a divine feminine energy that is coming across as the freedom fighter, as the liberator, as the one who gracefully dances with the scales of justice and um, and holds the seeds. I showed seeds of Noah's Ark, which is an interesting metaphor because, of course, the idea of Noah's Ark, and forgive me if I am misrepresenting any of these sacred stories that have been retold so many times, is that they would put, I think it was 2 of each animal inside of the ark, and the ark would then was a huge ark that could sustain life as this great flood emerged. Ooh, 10%. Um, Let me just make sure no one's getting distracted. Is that a good angle? And I'm also feeling drawn to remind people, if you're new to protesting and you're not used to taking a stand against the chains of oppression, look into what a sit-in is. A sit-in, and I probably should have actually had notes, which I don't often do. I probably should have had notes to speak about this, and maybe I'll do a separate video. But a sit-in is a peaceful protest, and what's so powerful about a peaceful protest or a sit-in is that, first of all, it does not give excuse or invitation to the oppressor to take your actions and blame you for it. Okay, so that could be important for somebody. And just remember that I'm an energy worker, so if you feel anything coming up that you need to purge, such as tears, laughter, song, dance, any type of purging you feel you need to do within this video, please do so. You can always pause this video and come back to it. And if this is beneficial to you, then why don't you click like, share, and subscribe so that it helps bounce out these messages, boomerang these messages out to more members of the collective so we can heal and rise together. This like freedom fighter energy is very inspiring, it's very moving, it's got a lot of kinetic, powerful energy, and I feel like that's what's in the collective at the moment. Is it's almost like The very air is alive with potential and possibility. The very elements are at our beck and call, ready and waiting to support us as we bring in new earth and make these changes. And I just heard choices in love, choices in love. Um, and I'm seeing like a radio transmitter in my mind's eye. So there's some energy that um, has chosen the instructions of the oppressor rather than following their own heart and their own intuition. And I just want to take a moment to say that that's a very difficult place to be in, I'm sure. And I can speak from my own personal experience. It's very heartbreaking when you know that due to outside forces and um, archaic, bigoted thinking, that somebody you love might be in danger, or somebody you love and care about may actually be harmed. And there's definitely something here um, about truth and speaking one's truth and feeling one's truth and being true is what I want to say. So, hmm, hmm. I feel a few energies that would like to stop this work that we're doing here together. Um, and if it's not obvious by now, that's not going to happen. Don't let anybody trick you off your spot, as they say. I'm seeing a drum in my mind's eye. Um, yeah. Wow, this is really like a lucid message. It's so lucid. Yeah, look into what a sit-in is, because there's a lot of um, energy surfacing. There's a lot of visitors from the underworld coming forward, and it's so important that the collective understands that not all protest should be or can be formed in fire. Some of that protest must be gentle water and thoughtful air. Yeah, the mind, the um, higher realms of consciousness. Working with binaural beats will be helpful for you at the moment. Working with sound, including your own divine sound, as well as um, the many helpful sounds that have been created for healing, such as binaural beats. Confirmation. Cicadas might be important for you at this time, as well as scarabs, which is interesting because I believe that I was drawn to put a scarab with this video. You could look into what they mean, particularly in connection to ancient Egypt. Um, yeah, I feel like this is just the beginning of some very important channeling that's coming through. And of course, we want to continue, particularly at this important stage and this vital moon phase, for us to let go of energies, people, places, or things who are choosing the oppressor. Yeah, and I just saw we can't save everyone. And I just saw a life raft. a lifesaver, one might say. So, okay, is there anything else? What are we looking at? 2010. What's that up there? Is that an ibis? Ibises are native indigenous birds in so-called Australia. Um, but they also are in the hieroglyphs in Egypt, so-called Egypt, right? And I just heard, are you Greek or are you Roman? Working with dance will be beneficial for many people in the collective, particularly percussion, um, particularly drums, particularly string instruments, or I guess instruments that really connect into your heart chakra. There's a lot of healing of the heart chakra that's taking place at the moment. And we just want to give a round of applause for all of the divine feminine energies that are helping facilitate that process of heart healing, particularly heart healing within the divine masculine energies here in this earthly realm and beyond, right? Yeah. So, I think this is part one of the slave drivers who fell in love with a freedom fighter. And I also want to remind you that no one is all one thing, yeah? So, there's like almost this energy of like people quote unquote jumping ship, or swapping sides, changing teams, um, and um, and then I'm seeing someone like now swim back to the other boat, which is interesting. There's been a lot of images coming through um, around water and the ocean. And it's hard to be a liberator um, because when you're a liberator and that's who you are and that's how you live, therefore people in your lives, whether it's an actual person, whether it's a job, whether it's a family or family member, whether it's a person, place or thing, by you walking in your authentic, true